The Waylanders is like a barely chilled light beer on a warm day. It's at times almost pleasant and always better than nothing, but it'll never quite convince you that you aren't settling for a light, low-stakes story that seems reluctant to build tension. Settling for a stop-time combat system that lacks the polish enjoyed by its peers and predecessors. And perhaps worst of all, settling for an RPG almost entirely devoid of meaningful role-playing. Now, contrary to what this introduction would have you believe, I'm not here to not recommend the Waylanders to you. And while I'll unpack the flaws I just alleged and many more, I'll also happily admit that this is a game that grew on me. But only after I did or stopped doing the following 3 things. First, do not play this game with a controller. I typically default to reviewing games from my couch, but selecting skills and swapping party members with my old PS4 controller here was a nightmarishly clunky experience that almost convinced me this game was beyond repair. Take my advice and stick to the old keyboard and mouse, because that's how this game, and admittedly the genre at large, is meant to be played. Second, turn on damage numbers. The combat in Waylanders feels disjointed and lacks impact, an ironically soft term used to generally describe the animations associated with knocking someone's lights out. To me, damage numbers here do more than just scratch the same instant gratification itch satisfied by FPS hit markers. They reinforce that impact animation I just described and also let you know how much stronger your party is getting over time. And while we're talking UI, I'll toss in a quick 2B. I love this game's auto loot feature and can't imagine playing without it. Finally, third and most importantly, check your classics at the door. In my opinion, this game did itself no favors by citing some of the greatest ever RPGs as its inspiration.
Is it too late to stop them?
This unnecessarily opens the Waylanders up for direct comparisons that it's frankly just not equipped to win. So, don't go in expecting a masterpiece, and you may emerge with your hype intact. Having shared these preemptive nuggets of advice, let's spend a minute or 3 unpacking the game's story, gameplay, content, and style. The Waylanders begins with the first ever meeting between the Celts and their gods, the Tuatha. It goes about as well as it did for Guy Pearce and Prometheus. In no particular order, a magical corruption then blankets the land, an usurper steals the Celtic crown, and somewhere along the way you're untethered from time and can just Marty McFly your way through centuries, ending up in medieval Spain circa the Inquisition. Be honest, you did not expect that. And why would you? The plot's a hot mess, made less compelling by the lack of a clear antagonist until much too late. This problem hurts the pacing of the game and makes your actions feel less important. Really, the Waylander tees up the resurrection of this gigantic evil werewolf god, which is decidedly metal, only to have you kill it in the tutorial and never hear about it again. The dialogue is equally underwhelming, and for every great voice acting performance, there's one of these.
Glory and honor are everything to us dogs of Ares.
What the f***?
Despite the game's bare-bones romance system, never once did I build any real fondness or connection to any of the what feels like dozens of Waylanders characters, though the time travel elements here do naturally lend themselves to character growth and transformation, which is pretty cool. As for gameplay, the Waylanders features real-time combat with a tactical pause option that you'll use to maneuver your party of 5 against waves of spiders, wolves, zombified corruption, and yeah, that's honestly about it. Depending on the difficulty you select, you may be forced to micro the shit out of this game because AI-controlled party members don't like healing themselves, or you. This said, the combat feels pretty fine if a tad dated, though Formations, class-specific special attacks that combine party members into powerful arrangements, keeps things interesting. The game's non-combat offerings never really go beyond that of a vanilla RPG. You'll spend a lot of time managing party member equipment, upgrading stats, and unlocking skills. Luckily, the game menus are attractive and easy enough to use. As for playability, the Waylanders launched into early access a buggy, broken mess with horrific optimization, and though some serious polish has since been applied, I found the same invisible walls and broken quests in my ready-for-launch review copy, so proceed with caution. The world of the Waylanders is split into eras. You'll go from ogling the Morian Otherworld's golden arches to wondering how it became a Mad Max backdrop centuries later. By playing with time, game developer Gato Studios was able to inject instant depth and intrigue into each setting, which left me impressed. Until I explored these settings and realized that no matter my character's race or backstory, every NPC treated me the exact same. Really, I rolled 3 characters: a werewolf ranger named Wolverine, a Morian warrior named Courier, and a tiny human rogue named Megan the Micro. Guess which one of these characters reacted differently to us killing that badass werewolf god?
Don't look at me.
That's right, none of them. Guess which one can speak werewolf? Really, just pick the werewolf. Go ahead. He's not gonna bite you. He's not gonna bite you because he probably doesn't have any teeth, because he's not even a real werewolf, because he can't even speak werewolf. Okay, I'm too mad to talk about the game's lukewarm objectives and lukewarmer boss fights, and I can't call it a steal at $40, so let's just conclude with a few words on style. Come on, Scope, keep it together. Keep it together. The colorful and cartoony art style in the Waylanders is an interesting one. It invites you in with at times wonderful lighting and eye-popping environmental textures, only to hit you between the eyes with the weirdest Jim Carrey facial animation abominations you've ever seen. Meanwhile, the music is nice and light if repetitive. Really, the OST for this 20 or so hour affair is 48 minutes long, so I hope you like flutes. Finally, wow, does this game need to patch in some more battle cries? I think it's probably safe to say that the Waylanders underachieves, but in the same way that does that barely chilled light beer. You know things could be better, but you'll probably finish it anyway. In the end, and after averaging up our micrometrics, the Waylanders earns the following metric scores and an aggregate mega score of 2.79 out of 5. Till next time, this is Scope, and thanks for watching.